Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? Good? It's really hot out there, isn't it? This would probably be a good time for something like, I don't know, how about a cold beer? Hot day, cold beer would be pretty awesome, don't you think? I just happen to have one. And, you know, the cold thing about this beer is that it's not just any old beer. It's a Guinness. Whoa. Maybe it's hotter than I think. You know, there's a lot of people that look at this beer and they think, no thanks. I want nothing to do with that dark, foamy, kind of different looking beer. I mean, there's lots of beers, but there's only one Guinness. It really stands alone. And the crazy thing about it is Guinness, they could care less. If you love their beer, great. They're good. If you hate their beer, they don't care. It's not what they care about. Why is that? It's because they have a legion of followers that just love everything about that Guinness. People go out of their way to get that dark, foamy beer. It's what they think is awesome. And I live in Old Town with my wife, and just not too long ago, I was walking by Second City up there at North Avenue, you guys know, and I saw this Guinness delivery truck. And I had to whip up my iPhone. I took this lousy picture because I loved what I saw. Fortune favors the bold. Fortune favors the bold. Think about that. It's an awesome saying. And I dug into it, and I had my whole team look into it. I drove everybody nuts. And the reality is that that saying goes way back. It was written by a guy named Virgil, and it could literally find its roots in things like Julius Caesar going across the Rubicon River and ultimately having to invade Rome. It goes way, way back. But the more I thought about it, the more we talked about it as a team, the more we realized that bold can mean lots of things. Certainly the bold flavor of the beer, but really, it's about beliefs. It's about the idea that this is what I stand for. These are the things that I'm going to do. I'm going to be bold. And as startups, as entrepreneurs, as people who are making a big difference in the world, you have to be bold. You have to tell us what you believe. And fortune favors the bold. Examples are all over of entrepreneurs and startups doing things where fortune smiles upon them when they are bold. I'll give you some examples. This is a woman named Sarah Blakely. Some of you may know who she is. She started out selling copiers, and now she's a billionaire. She sold copiers, and now she's a billionaire. She's the inventor of Spanx. And when it was time to finally get in front of a buyer, she quite literally took the female buyer into the ladies' room and dropped her clothes and said, "Look at my product." It's pretty bold. But she's a billionaire today. Kind of amazing. We all know this guy. He told us exactly what he stands for. His beliefs were strong, they were loud, and they were proud. And he pissed some people off, and he didn't really care because fortune favored the bold. It's not unusual at all for us to think about using things like our Apple phone, our Apple music player, our Apple TV download device. It was called Apple Computer, but he believed the company could be more. Fortune favors the bold. This is someone you may not know. It's the founder of Flickr. Her last name is Fake, but that's actually true. Karina Fake. She sold Flickr for $40 million, and it was an oh, by the way. It was an aside. She and her husband had started a gaming company. They were making online games, and they came up with this cool platform for sharing photos. And she believed that people would want to share photos on the web. Fortune favors the bold. So tonight, quickly, you guys are entrepreneurs, you're starters, you're startups. Let me ask you a question. What do you believe? I mean, think about it. What do you really believe? What do you stand for? What's your company all about? And more importantly, why should we care? The reality is, if you don't know what you believe, how can we know what you believe? And beliefs really, really matter. Let me explain. Hopefully I won't spill on my beer. Whole Foods. Anybody ever shopped at Whole Foods? No one shopped at Whole Foods? Good. So when I was a kid, I had this dentist. He was a really hairy Greek man named Dr. Thanasaurus. He really was. And there were two parts about going to the dentist that I actually liked. One is he had an egg chair. It quite literally looked like an egg. The second was he had this thing called Highlights magazine. And as a kid, you might remember Highlights, right? And my favorite part about Highlights was the which one of these doesn't belong. And we're going to play that game. So here we have a Whole Foods bag, and I'm going to pull out some items. And I want you guys to tell me what doesn't belong. First item, your organic carrots, green tops on. Literally dirty celery, as in right out of the ground, dirty celery. Gluten-free, Nature's Path organic, crunchy vanilla, quinoa, buckwheat, and amaranth cereal. And 2 packs of Oreos. You tell me, which one of these products doesn't fit? Oreos. Eat, you vultures. Go for it. Pass those around. You're right. The reality is the Oreos don't fit. And if you saw Oreos on the shelf at Whole Foods, you'd say, what the heck, right? Now, let's just back up real quickly on this. Over 20 million Oreos are consumed every day. 20 million Oreos consumed every single day. Whole Foods is a publicly traded company. Stock price is around $58. They have a market cap of about $20 billion. Their CEO gets paid many millions of dollars. They have all kinds of people that want them to make money. One would think that if 20 million Oreos are sold on any given day, Whole Foods, as a food retailer, should sell Oreos, right? Maybe not. Why does Whole Foods choose not to sell Oreos? It's not what they believe. It's not what they stand for. They want to sell us amaranth, buckwheat, gluten-free cereal. I don't even know what that stuff is. The reality is that Oreos would look out of place at Whole Foods. But that's okay. Whole Foods doesn't care. They realize that you have a choice. If you want Oreos, you can go to the BP at the corner. You can go to 7-Eleven. You can go to Dominic's. No problem. But if you want vegan, gluten-free, healthy options, come to Whole Foods. They're cool with that. The reality is all you need to do is tell people what you believe. Now, this isn't easy. It sounds really, really simple, but I can promise you, it's not easy. And as entrepreneurs, as startups, as business owners, my challenge to you this evening is to really figure out what is the thing that you stand for. What do you believe? And we're going to dive into this a little bit. I promise I'm going to show you how this works. It really starts with psychology. There's this thing called cognitive psychology theory. It's been around a really long time. And all you really need to know is that your beliefs lead to your actions. Let me say that again. Your beliefs lead to your actions. I'll give you some quick examples. If you hate sushi, how many people hate sushi? Raise your hands. Few. That's actually a pretty small number. Good for you guys. For those of you that hate sushi, your action is likely to go someplace besides a sushi restaurant. You don't want to go there. You hate sushi, right? How about things like, a Chicago-style hot dog? I can tell you right now that I'm a Chicagoan, and I do not put ketchup on my hot dog. If you put ketchup on your hot dog, you are wrong. It's that simple. But my beliefs lead to my actions. Even things like guns. If you believe in guns, you're more likely to have a gun. If you don't believe in guns, if you think they're bad, you're not going to have one. Your beliefs lead to your actions. How about things like the way you vote? Seems like an obvious one. Whatever party you decide is better is the one that you're going to ultimately vote for. How about things like green energy? Last year, my wife and I bought a hybrid. It had never occurred to me that we should buy a hybrid. Her beliefs influenced me enough that that's what we did. The reality is, guys, is that this happens all over the place. How many of you worked out today or will do so before the day is over? Just a few. Your beliefs lead to your actions. Yeah. I didn't either. I've got all kinds of Apple products, but one thing I don't do is I don't download books. I want physical hardcover books. I want books. My beliefs lead to my actions. You may have a best ever Kindle, an Amazon account. You might own all kinds of books as digital downloads. We believe different things. Our actions will be different. Things like PC versus Mac. Ultimately, even things like, should I do Technori pitch? But one thing you need to know is that the idea is really about getting to work with people that believe what you believe. See, we have this idea in our brain that the goal is to work with everybody. We can't. We just simply don't have the time, the bandwidth, the expertise, the ability to work with everyone. It's a bad goal. It's fundamentally flawed. And unfortunately, as startups, as entrepreneurs, we think that that's the goal. Go get everybody. No. No. The goal is to work with those that believe what you believe. Work with those that believe what you believe. It sounds simple, but it's hard. And here's the thing. Do you really know? Have you ever really thought about it? Have you stopped and taken stock of the things that you stand for? My hunch is you probably haven't. And that's okay, because most people have not. But I want to show you real quickly that there are a bunch of marketers who have. And you will recognize these brands. They will feel strong to you because they've done it the right way. That's what I want you to walk away with tonight, that you have that opportunity. Your brand can be anything you want it to be. But if you tell us what you believe, it's got a chance to be really, really powerful. A couple quick examples. Anyone flown Virgin America? It's getting great. Oh, a bunch of people. I'm impressed. Is this the cheapest flight you could get? Not a chance. But I can tell you this, it doesn't look like Southwest. It doesn't. They tell you on a billboard, we fly in the face of the status quo, and when you walk on that plane, it's different. It's not the cheapest flight. They don't care to be. Because if you believe that status and beautiful flight attendants and iPods and cocktails, if that's what your flight experience should be, you're going to fly them. It's all about beliefs. How many people have eaten a Chipotle burrito? All of us, right? Hey, gang, it's a fast food burrito. It's a fast food burrito, and it cost you almost $10. You could get that burrito in a lot cheaper, in a lot of different places. But I promise you, they don't have billboards that say their ingredients are better. And I guarantee you won't see them in a farmer's market. The reality is Chipotle tells you our stuff is better. It's hormone-free, it's locally sourced, it's different, and you're willing to pay $10 for it. You believe what they believe. And how about even things like, Coca-Cola? Everyone's had a Coke, right? See, this is one of those mistakes that we all make. When we talk about our businesses, whether it's on our websites, our blogs, our business cards, whatever it is, we want to tell people all about it. We want to say things like, we've got 7,000 delivery trucks. So what? Who cares? What does that have to do with me? What do you believe? What do you stand for? What Coke should do is they should say, we believe you should never be thirsty for a Coke. That's why we've got 7,000 trucks to deliver you Coke anywhere in the world that you need one. Do you see the difference? They're telling you what they stand for. They're telling you that they want all of you to never, ever be thirsty. That's why they've got an infrastructure to take care of you. Far different animal than saying, we've got 7,000 trucks. We do a lot of work in the financial world, and one of our clients actually kind of yelled at me for this, but this billboard was on the Stevenson Expressway right off of 55. It's no longer there. I took this picture risking life and limb to get it because it just drove me nuts. Prudential said to us, we've got $901 billion in assets. So what? I've got about $2. What is this going to do for me? What do they stand for? What do they believe? And we can infer, we can get the idea that get a piece of the rock, but that's an inference at best. What they should say is, we believe that our customers are the most important asset. That's why we're going to spend the $901 billion on all kinds of awesome stuff to serve you better. Do you see the difference, guys? Tomorrow, when you go back to your office, or tonight when you're at home, I want you to think about this. I want you to really think about, what do you stand for? What do you believe? And what kind of language do you do in an outgoing way? If I got on your websites right now, what would it say? So here's the thing. Once you know what your beliefs are, scream them loudly. Shout from the rooftops. Tell us what you believe. If we believe the same things, we're going to be good. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. I have all kinds of groceries if anyone wants them, by the way.
All right.
All right. Let's talk, Seth. What you got for me?
Well, a few things. One, they want to know if they can have the beer and if you're going to chug it.
I will. There's 3 beers. I will absolutely give them away. It's completely fine. In fact, go help yourself if you want them. Seriously, I don't care. Go for it.
Now, hold on. Don't open that yet. So top question is, what do you believe?
Well, it's interesting. It's actually a great story, or question, I should say. The thing about beliefs is they don't have to be very deep. When we talk to potential clients about it, they're always kind of amazed because we say things like, we believe you should talk to a human being. That's why we run at our office to the phone. We don't want you to get stuck in things like voicemail. We believe that the projects that we do should be fun. We do all kinds of things that are less than totally serious. We believe that you should feel special. We go out of our way to make people feel special and give them interesting thank yous and make them feel loved on. And so we don't get into a ton of depth about our years of experience and where we've worked in our client list. We just tell people what we believe, and if they believe the same things, it's good. I mean, wouldn't you choose to work with companies that actually answer the phone and make you feel special and say thank you? Point is, it doesn't have to be too deep. It just has to actually be there.
You mentioned some things that sound a lot like Simon Sinek in there. You two know each other pretty well?
I do know Simon. We've actually worked together. Simon's great. If you don't know it, Simon Sinek is the author of Start With Why. It's a website called Start With Why. He's also a consultant. Has a new book coming out next month. It's also the 3rd most downloaded TED Talk, so by all means, take a look. And it's very much, you can take the idea of starting with why, and in many ways swap it out. The word why can be beliefs. They are very, very simpatico, for sure.
And then I guess people are curious also, do you practice your presentations? Because you look pretty polished up here.
I will tell you that one of the presentations that I do is on presentation skills, and as Seth told you, we work with the Technori teams to rock it out when they get up here. It's one of those things that there is an inherent amount of pressure to not suck when the presentation guy has to go do a presentation. And so I take this very seriously. I absolutely practice what I preach. If you ask any of the teams, I say all the time, it's content, 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 content. If you know your content, you will be successful. So I work diligently and consistently on refining my content. So yeah.
As far as the examples and as far as belief and reasoning, they seem a little lengthy. Can you present your beliefs in a shorter manner? Like how do you present them in a short manner?
You absolutely can. This is a long answer that you need to see it to actually get it. But I think it goes back to my first point, which is that it does not need to be overly deep. You can say things like, we're all about fun. That's pretty quick and simple. And it's enough. It's the kind of thing where you just have to have it. It so rarely exists. It's amazing how many companies are successful in spite of themselves.
All right, so you've coached a lot of our teams. So what is the biggest mistake startups make when they're doing the presentations? What are some of the most common ones you're seeing?
I would say the number one mistake by far is teams are selfish. And by that I mean they're so consumed with their own world that they forget it's really not about them. They already know the material. It's about you, the audience. When you're selfish, you make bad decisions. You don't study enough, you don't know your content enough, you make crappy slides, you do everything wrong because you're focused on you as opposed to the people that really matter, and that's the audience who know nothing about your company, nothing about your product. And if you think about it, if you ever travel, if you go on a plane, there's the dude that always steals the overhead bid and the bottom thing, that selfish guy. You want to kill that guy? You don't want to be that selfish guy. So selfish, number one.
And I guess also, why do you feel like most companies don't get this? Why?
That's a great question. I would tell you that if we've talked to lots of CMOs and worked with a bunch, it doesn't necessarily seem toothsome enough. I think the reality is everyone wants to have some kind of great agency of record, and they want to have a big program, and it's got to have now a digital strategy and all of these things. And all you really need to do is say, hey, this is what I stand for. And it just doesn't seem to be in depth enough, I guess. But the reality is, if you think about things like the Whole Foods example, ever seen a Whole Foods commercial? Neither have I. But they make money like crazy.
So how do you get clients to believe in you?
The number one source of marketing that I have is I do this. I get paid to go around and do keynote presentations and workshops, half-day workshops and that kind of stuff. And so people will see this and they'll say, can I get some of that? And to that end, shameless plug, because I'm a big fan of Technori and because Seth has been incredibly generous and offer.
I think I can actually
I actually killed it for you.
Oh, you killed it?
Yeah.
All right.
Seth has been amazing for years to us. And so I said, you know what, I got to take this opportunity. For a really reduced rate, $285 on September 20th, we are offering a full-day workshop, a boot camp for Technori. And so it's at our office in River North. The first 10 people to sign up at squareplanetbootcamp.com. Squareplanetbootcamp.com. $285, September 20th, 9 to 4. It includes lunch. So there you go.
And you do normally charge substantially.
It's a lot more, yeah.
All right, that's what I thought. So yeah, it is actually a pretty shockingly low price because some of your larger clients as well, you're doing.
I'm not messing around. This is a for-profit business, actually.
If you want to talk about it, here's a more vulnerability question. What would you say was your biggest failure?
My biggest failure?
Yeah.
I can point to two. Actually, you know one of them. Corey Blake of Roundtable Companies. Really good guy. Really amazing email exchange. He had a project that he wanted us to do, and we did a great job for a while, and then he kind of fell off our radar. And just a couple more emails, 3 months had gone by, and he basically said, dude, WTF? And when I looked at my guys and my staff and we could chase the problem, we realized that we just dropped the ball. We didn't shepherd him all the way through. He contracted us to do that, and we didn't. And so I have tried to make every possible appeal to him to say, I'm sorry. He's been great about it. He's been really cool, but we owned up to it. So that was easily the biggest failure in the short while. The other one I would tell you is, this is a weird one, but for a long time, we just gave this away. We just did not put enough value into what we do, because I think especially for startups, we can really help with client acquisition. As startups, you guys have 5 things that you're working on. It's obviously your idea. Typically, you have a great team. Generally speaking, you can either get or have awesome technology. And then, the cash thing, everyone thinks that's the problem, but truthfully, you can get bootstrapped, you can get VC or angel funding. Money's never the issue. It's getting clients and really getting people to understand what you're all about. And that's something that we do really well, is help refine that message and get people, to understand what their beliefs are. And so I think we just didn't charge enough for a while.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a classic startup issue.
Yep.
So one final question here. So do you believe in love?
I got to tell you, not only do I believe in love, I actually hope you do fall in love with Neil. I think it's kind of awesome. I do.
All right, well, that's all we got. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Brian.